Dan Henry recently launched a Skool community and it cost over $25,000 to join. And it made him over $1 million in the first 3 days of launching it. Now you might be wondering how. Skool itself doesn't even allow you to charge $25,000 for a community. Well, it all comes down to his genius funnel that he's using to get these customers that we're going to dive into right now to hopefully uncover some of these $1 million secrets. So if we first start with a 30,000 foot overview, we'll start to see how this all plays out. And it's a bit more complicated than you might expect for a typical Skool community. But rather than selling something for $9 a month, he's selling it for $25,000 up front. So let's dive into this. If we first look at where he's getting traffic for this Skool community, it's through his organic platforms like YouTube and Instagram and Facebook. And he's also running Facebook ads. So I want to go there because that's where I first saw this offer. So if you go to the Meta ad library, you can search by all ads and the country, and then just type in his name, Dan Henry, and you'll see all the ads he's running. Right now, he's running about 61 different ads. And if we look at these ads, we'll start to see the angle that he's using to sell this thing, and it's pretty genius. Now, he's running a lot of these static images, which must be working pretty well. A lot of people have kind of gone pure video. I remember back in like 2019, pretty much all Instagram ads were images. And now most of them are video, but this proves that I think images are probably still generating cheap leads, but he also does have videos as well. So if we read one of these ads here, if we look at this copy, he says, after landing 1,200 high-end clients, I can honestly say sales teams are the worst way to grow your business. And he says, better way with an arrow down below to watch the video. Okay, what is he doing? Well, he's saying he got 1,200 high-end clients, right? So he's immediately establishing some social credibility. I'm interested why he's using that number, because he could probably use a much higher number. I know throughout more of his programs, he's gotten way more than that, but he's using that number for some reason or another. I mean, he's generated over $30 million online. I would assume he's probably had closer to 5,000 or 10,000 customers if you zoom out to all of his different offers. So he establishes some credibility, but then again, he says, sales teams are the worst way to grow your business. In the market currently right now in 2025, the general status quo is create a VSL funnel, build a sales team, sell high ticket, right? Like that's the way to do it. Some people like Dan are coming in and they're saying, hey, I hate running sales teams. You probably hate running sales teams too. There's a better way, right? So he's throwing rocks at what everyone's doing. And if you think about this in general, like in any market, if you can come in and just say the opposite of what everyone else is saying, that typically is a pretty good start, right? Especially when you're someone like Dan who knows what he's doing. He knows how to market, right? If you're just starting out, I think typically it's actually better to start more similar to what other people are doing that is working and just copy what is working. A funny story is a few years ago, I was at Funnel Hacking Live and I met somebody who literally copied Dan Henry's webinar, right? So speaking of copying people, they copied his webinar. They told me basically word for word, and they made $1 million in 52 days. I don't think they'd ever made a webinar before, but just by mimicking what he, and now that's like stealing, right? But just by mimicking what he did, they made $1 million in 52 days, right? The problem was when that went downhill and their ads stopped working, they had no idea why, right? And they couldn't get it back up because they hadn't actually learned everything. But it just goes to show, typically, if you can just model what's already working, that works. But of course, don't steal webinars. So he says this. Now let's see what he says in the video because his copy is really, really good.
I have made a lot of money with sales calls and sales teams, and I hated it. I hate managing.
So immediately, hook, right? I made a lot of money with sales teams, and I hated it, right? Dan's a very, very good presenter. He uses comedy well, right? In some of the other ads I saw, he was like mimicking Tony Robbins, which we might get into in a minute here, and it's like one of the funniest things I've ever seen him do. But the hook itself, the copy itself is so good because a lot of people hate sales teams. A lot of people don't want to manage sales teams. They don't want to deal with it. They don't want to hire them. They don't want to manage them. They don't want to train them, right? They don't want to pay them commission. So by saying, hey, you don't need any of that, he's immediately going to attract a lot of those people.
I hate managing sales reps when one week they do great and then the next week they have a fight with their friggin' girlfriend and now all of a sudden their close rate cuts in half. That's
okay. So he doesn't just say, right? Like this is such good copy. He doesn't just say, that 1 month they do well, the next month they do bad, right? No, he says, 1 week they're doing well, the next week they have a fight with their girlfriend and their close rate gets cut in half, right? If you have a sales team, you've experienced this. I've experienced this exact same thing with one of my salespeople at an old company, getting in a fight with his girlfriend and all of a sudden closing horribly, right? So people know what this feels like. He's allowing you to step into the story. And I know he's actually gotten a lot of training on storytelling from somebody who I think worked on like Disney level films and maybe train Pixar people or something like that. So his storytelling is exceptional. He's a really, really good copywriter.
That's why I like sales presentations, because it's predictable, it's repeatable, it's consistent. If I convert at 10% and I bring 100 people to a sales presentation, I know that I'm gonna get 10 clients every time, as long as I say the same thing I said last time. Sales calls and sales teams are variable. They depend on...
Okay, so then he introduces a new opportunity, sales presentations, right? He says, rather than having this variable craziness of, close rate going like this, if you just have one sales presentation that's proven to convert, it's going to work time and time again. Okay, so ads are strong, copy's strong. Where is he actually sending these people to? Well, there's a few different ways to get here, but we're gonna look at the main one and then we'll dive into some of the others in just a minute. So this is the main page, and we're gonna roast Dan a little bit on this page because there's a few things that I think he could do better that will increase the conversion rate of this page. And if you've seen Dan's YouTube, you know he's the master roaster, so he needs to get roasted himself. Roll the clip.
I mean, dude, let's get real here. You're telling me that you got the opportunity to talk to me and get my eyes on your business idea, and you woke up 15 minutes before looking like a lawnmower ran over your head.
Okay, when I land on this page, the first thing I see, or really rather don't see, is a prominent CTA, okay? We see a headline, right? And if we use a predictive eye software like iQuant, where it's gonna show you where viewers' eyes are gonna go, it's probably primarily right here, primarily this face, right? And this CTA up here, because it's not so prominent, because the background is the same background as the header, white button on a white background with, yeah, there's a red border, but look at this. If you looked at that, okay, now my eyes are gonna go there much more quickly, right? It's probably gonna be like the third thing I see, or maybe the second thing I see after this and the face, right? So that's number one, prominent CTA. And even worse than that, you have to scroll all the way down here to get there, right? Now, granted, maybe he wants people to see the price, and all of these things should be tested, right? These are just best practices that typically work, but they do not always work. There's so much nuance in funnels that you need to test almost every single assumption, okay? So if we go back here, the copy says, give me just 3 days. I'll help you create a pitch that gets clients for life without a sales team. Again, big thing you want without what you don't want. What I don't love about this headline is this, that gets clients for life. I like something he says further down on the page that we're gonna get to in a second better, because this doesn't quite feel super tangible, right? And it's not the big benefit that I feel like he's trying to get across. Okay, we'll get to that in a second. So I'm not a huge fan of this. But he says, join the 3-day epic pitch challenge and leave with a proven sales presentation you can use again and again to close high value clients with confidence. Okay, I like it. He's giving a tangible result, right? You're gonna leave with this presentation. That's one of the cool things about challenges that you don't get as much in VSLs or webinars. Now, you could position your webinar as a challenge, right? And it's just an hour-long challenge where, hey, you're gonna learn how to do this thing. So I do think you could get that out of it, but challenges have unique positioning where, I mean, partially because they cost money, but you're gonna leave with a tangible result, right? You're not gonna just learn something, you're gonna leave with something. This is like Russell Brunson's one funnel away challenge, right? Or your first funnel challenge. You're gonna leave with your first funnel. So I like that. However, I am interested, like, to see side by side, if Dan took some of the same copy that he has in these 3 days and combined it into a webinar, how would that convert versus doing it in a challenge funnel? Because I've heard Russell Brunson talk about this, and we'll add the clip in. I've heard him talk about the attendance rate from day 1 to day 2 to day 3.
There's more break-off points, right? Like, there's people register and the people show up to day 1, but not day 2. And then day 2, but not day, like there's more breakage points. Yeah. Whereas here, I try to max. So I'm a webinar guy. I love webinars because I can maximize how many people showing up and selling, and I can control this and tweak this a lot easier than a challenge.
There's obviously a drop off there, and you have to be really good. I'm sure Dan is at getting people to come back and stay every day, but it's still difficult. It's much harder than just getting people to show up to one webinar and stay for one webinar, right? You have to be good at retaining them over the course of 3 days. Now, this video is also really strong. We'll watch a little bit of it here.
I made $32 million with this sales presentation framework. And not only am I gonna let you steal it, I'm gonna help you master it.
So super solid hook right at the beginning, right? He's whispering here. He's using tonality to pull you in. He says, I made $32 million with this sales presentation. He says, not only am I gonna let you steal it, I'm gonna help you master it, right? That's the big pitch. And he goes into basically the big domino in this video, right? Why should you make a presentation? Because he has to make 2 sales. And every funnel only really has to make 2 sales. The sale on the vehicle and the sale on the product / person teaching the vehicle, right? If it's an info-based product. Again, if you extrapolate that out to a supplement, it's the same exact thing. The sale on the actual supplement itself and the sale on the company selling the supplement, that you can actually trust the company, right? If those two things are done, you're going to get sales like hotcakes, right? So here, he's trying to convince you of the vehicle, which is sales presentations. How does he do that? He tells stories. He tells stories about Tony Robbins.
Tony Robbins!
How Tony Robbins, the billion-dollar life coach, uses presentations, and how the most valuable tech company in the world, Apple, uses presentations, keynotes, when they launch a new product. He's trying to convince you of his core thesis that sales presentations are the best way to get clients. So under here, he says, whether you're a returning client or you're new here, I respect you because being on this page shows that you're smart. Interesting. Because creating effective sales presentation is just something smart people do. All right. He's trying to tap into your psyche a little bit there. But then he says, secure your spot in the Epic Pitch Challenge now for a special one-time payment of just $97. And then he has this countdown timer with a little bit of scarcity, right? It's coming to, close to the time when this actually starts. He says, yes, let's create my pitch. He doesn't say sign up now. He doesn't say join now. He says, get this result, right? Let's create my epic pitch. Little disclaimer there for compliance reasons and a few testimonials. Now, these testimonials are good. They don't look the best because they're just screenshots, but they convert higher, okay? When you get a testimonial, it always is going to be the best if you can grab it from the place it was received. He has a worse form later on the page that we're going to see that looks better, but people just don't trust it as much. So screenshots are always going to convert better. And he says, here's what's covered during the 3-day live challenge. Now, this part I really don't like, okay? This, if I look here, like I just don't know what's going on, right? It's just like a scatterbrain of a bunch of different things you're going to learn. But like when you're scrolling, it's not super easy to see that. I think if these were rows rather than columns, it could look a little bit better. My ability to understand it as I skim would be better than just showing them in these columns. I just not a huge fan of that. Then he shows some bonuses. Then he says, learn 10 years worth of persuasion secrets in just 3 days, right? He's making this time commitment to value seem very, very worth it, right? Invest 3 days, get 10 years worth of persuasion secrets. We just saw this recently in Jeremy Miner's funnel, if you saw that video. Then he goes over who this is for. And again, CTA that sells the benefit, right? Create my pitch. And then you can see these testimonials here. This is what I'm talking about. These are just, entered into the page, right? Anybody could just type these in, so they don't look as trustworthy as a screenshotted testimonial. So just in general, people that don't know Dan are not going to trust that as much as they would a screenshot. And he says, by the end of this challenge, you'll have benefit, right? A repeatable process you can use over and over to land premium clients and grow your business. Not just a presentation, right? A presentation that gets you clients again and again and again. And this is actually what I meant when I said I didn't like the clients for life, because this is like more what I think people want. A repeatable process that they can use whenever to get clients on demand, right? That sounds better than get clients for life, in my opinion. But he says, here's what you can expect from the Epic Pitch Challenge. And he has 2 different like AI images here. Struggling sales to a year's worth of sales in a day. I doubt people are reading this. I feel like there's just too much text here, but I don't know. So maybe if those were just bullets, they would look a little bit better. And again, CTA. And then he says, I don't like talking about this, but I need to because of how grateful I feel to God. Okay, he's trying to pull you in there. He's trying to hook you in with that. And then with this like image of when he was a pizza boy or somewhere around then with this long hair that did not look very good. He says, I wasn't able to afford some of life's most basic things. All the time I was grinding, trying to figure out how to make money, build a business, and create a better life. You know how it feels to be unhappy because you don't have enough money. And on top of that, I wasn't contributing to the world. I wasn't making an impact, right? He's putting the knife into you and then he's twisting it, right? He's going to twist it even more. Something I always knew I could do if I simply had the opportunity. They say money won't make you happy, but the truth is money solves problems that make you unhappy. And I know you're not the only one who's seen people you love struggle. People you could have solved their biggest problems if only they had the money. Okay, one thing I actually saw recently, I think is really, really true, is when copy speaks to this kind of innate desire to provide, like it is here, you're really tapping on a button that is going to get people to take action, right? So he says some of them tragically didn't make it. People are suffering because they don't have enough money. He says, I remember a woman who got a tooth infection, a simple tooth infection. It can go back to his great storytelling, but she couldn't afford to see a dentist. It spread to her bloodstream and it killed her. So he's telling this tragic story, right? That was someone's mother, someone who raised her kids, bathed them, fed them, and prepared them for life. And she was gone because she couldn't afford a $2,000 procedure. A few years ago, my mom had a similar issue with her teeth. She ignored it for a while and it got worse. When she finally told me about it, I asked her, Mom, why didn't you say something sooner? Because it's $16,000 to fix. And I took out my debit card and said, done, fixed, just like that. And then I invited her to take a 10-day cruise on my private yacht to the Exumas, Bahamas. Okay, if you think of any good story, I learned this from Sean Puri on the How I Write podcast. He says a good story, if you think of a rom-com, opening scene, right? In this case, Dan's broke. The closing scene is going to be the exact opposite of that. He's taking his mom on a cruise and he paid for her, $16,000 surgery, right? Do you know what it feels like to have your mother hand you a $16,000 problem and you're able to just fix it, right? He starts in the situation. He has this desire, he has this intention, but he doesn't know how to get there. He runs into problems and he eventually gets there, right? That's kind of the bones of a good story. He says, no hesitation, no worry, just done. It's amazing, right? He's selling you this benefit. And then he goes into, how did he do it? One presentation. It changed his life and it can change yours too, with an image of him speaking on stage, which obviously adds some credibility, okay? What is he doing? He's selling the belief about the vehicle while also selling the belief about himself, right? That you need a sales presentation and you need to learn it from him if you're going to learn it, right? Again, one presentation that for 3 years reliably made over $10 million. And he's grateful to not only get the results for himself, but social proof, get the results for his clients in all types of businesses, even businesses like yours, he says. Introducing the Epic Pitch Framework, backed by data, not books. Unique mechanism, right? Epic Pitch Framework, his own proprietary way to create a presentation. It's not enough to just say create a presentation, because guess what? Lots of people teach how to make presentations, but no one else teaches his framework, right? So the copy is just again and again hitting on all of these different points, more social proof, hitting on the points, right? He goes over what he's going to teach, fill the room with the right people, say the right things, make the right offer, okay? Then it goes over, again, some more benefits of what you're going to get, some of the transformations, again, more benefits that you're going to get, what, when, and where, more copies selling this exact same thing, right? And all of this copy is really, really good because, again, Dan is a great copywriter, and he goes over why most experts are stuck in the prison of potential. And again, look at this. He knows what his audience is feeling. He says they're stuck watching others with half their expertise build empire-sized audiences, right? If you're an expert who looks around and sees people with worse experience making more money than you simply because they're better at marketing, that is going to sting, right? And that's exactly what he's trying to do to get you to take action and to learn these things. And he goes over these different traps, right? The perfect pitch trap. They believe they need the perfect slide deck, the perfect script, the perfect delivery. So they wait and wait and wait while others with good enough presentations are out there making impact and income. He's trying to get you to take action, right? To convince you to take action, right? And then he goes, you don't need any of these things that you think you need. You just need to learn this process, right? That's it. Just learn this process. More social proof, more copy, more social proof, more copy, risk reversal, right? If by the end of the challenge, your mind isn't blown, I'll give you 100% of your money back. No questions asked. People are afraid to make guarantees like this, but almost always they get you more sales than you lose in refunds. And he says a pitch so powerful that turns strangers into clients, right? This thing that everyone wants to be able to do. Join the Epic Pick Challenge below. And then he goes over secure order form, all 3 days for just $97. Now, this is actually built on HighLevel, which surprised me because in the past, he's like spoke on stage at Funnel Hacking Live. He's been kind of a ClickFunnels advocate. He's actually was on the first funnel challenge, but now he's using HighLevel. I'm not sure why. I have a theory that we're going to get into in a second, but order form is on the page here. I'd be curious why, if this would work better if it was on a separate page. Maybe he tested that, but normally it's on a separate page, but he puts it there. And then he goes here where he flips the frame, right? He doesn't want you to think of this as a price, as something you're buying or spending money at, but as an investment, right? He says $97 is a tiny investment compared to what this knowledge will bring you. One pitch done the right way could land you clients for life. Just think about the people on Shark Tank. The ones with the best pitches walked with billionaire partners, right? And the ones that didn't walked away empty-handed. Again, selling you on the idea of how important a good presentation is. And then he goes over VIP access, which is the order bump here. And he's positioning this smartly where he says, $197, right? So it's not $297 for the ticket, it's an additional $197. So the total's $294, which is incongruent with what he says down here at $297, but he's making it seem smaller by just saying it's $197 more than $297 total, right? So smart positioning there. And he goes over, it's a no-brainer, quick FAQ of all the potential small objections people could have. If you hit this, again, it goes here. After this page, it takes you, of course, you purchase. If you abandon there, which I don't know. Okay, it's not a two-step, so there's no like abandoned cart emails. So only if you purchase will he be able to contact you. Then on the next page, there's one more offer to upgrade your VIP seat. And then after that, this is where really the magic happens. It's a game of getting people to show up every day, right? So they're using email, they're using SMS to get you to show up every day. They also put you in a Facebook group where you'll watch it unless you join VIP and you'll be on Zoom, which is a smart way to boost order value, right? Which hopefully allows him to liquidate this front end offer. So everything he makes on the back end for the $25,000 Skool community, because we haven't even got there yet, will be 100% profit, right? If you can just break even on this. And you might not even care. You might just be like, just get as many people on this as possible because I know I'm going to convert a certain percentage of these people into $25,000 sales. And the way he sells that is super interesting. But I want to show you one other way he's getting people in before we get into how he's selling the $25,000 service. So the other way is, again, talking about Tony Robbins and how he has a presentation. And he does a Tony Robbins pitch breakdown lead magnet, right? And you get an email with this PDF, and guess what? At the end of the PDF, it sends you to the sales page, right? To get more of these people from YouTube organic into the challenge. Super smart. Okay. Then there's also this second page where not only does the PDF send you to the sales page, but the thank you page also says, wait, give me 3 days. I'll help you create a pitch that gets clients for life without a sales team, right? So there's another sales page on the thank you page, because why just relying people to open the PDF? Most won't open the PDF. Let them join right away. So that is how you actually get into the challenge, right? These 3 days are probably the most important part because it's not enough just to do the 3 days. If he wants people to join this $25,000 community, he has to do them in a certain way to break beliefs the prospects need in order to buy to get them to actually want to join, right? So the structure here is probably a similar structure to Russell Brunson's 3 beliefs that he teaches in like his perfect webinar script and expert secrets. That's probably similar to what he's doing on there. And I've heard Brunson say a challenge is basically just a webinar broken down in 3 days. So I'm assuming Dan's doing something similar. Okay. Now, how does he actually get you into this $25,000 Skool community? Well, again, Skool doesn't allow you to charge 25 grand on the platform for a community. So he's not charging it on there, right? He's charging it externally. In this case, the first step, which is only $1,000, we'll get into where the other 24 comes in just a second, is done on HighLevel. And again, there's a reason why he's using HighLevel that I think is super smart. So it says apply to join Epic Pitch Mastery. There's a video kind of breaking down the offer here. He says only 30 spots available, which they sold out on the first round. And they're doing this again in just a couple weeks here. So they did this in December. They're doing it again in January, right? Which probably will convert way higher than it did in December. We've seen conversion rates just like double in January from December. And if you think why, it's because of motivation, right? If you watch my video on the conversion heuristic, the formula that a research institute out of Jacksonville, Florida, I believe a company called Mech Labs made, it's C equals 4M plus 3V minus 2 parentheses I minus F, I believe. And the 4M is the most important part of the formula, and that's motivation. But the thing about motivation is it's inherent in the prospect. You can't really create it. It's already there. And in January, there's more motivation because people want to grow their business this year. In December, they're thinking about the holidays, they're thinking about all of these other things, right? So January, more motivation, higher conversion rates, right? But he himself can't really do that. You can try to create motivation, right? But most of it is going to be inherent. Then he has testimonials from Russell Brunson, which is a little bit funny because he's on HighLevel now, but whatever. And then Josh Forty, who's a friend of mine. So Josh, if you're watching this, what's going on? Will Brown, who's also a friend of mine. Will, what's going on? And all of these testimonials are great. Russell said he doubled our sales at our event. Josh says we did over 200K with just 60 attendees. And Will said he converted 32% of the room that day, which shocked us, right? And he goes over kind of what you're going to learn, all of these different workshops that you're going to get to go through in this program, right? And then, again, if you're one of the 30 selected participants in Epic Pitch Mastery, right? So he's positioning this as you have to get accepted, right? Whether or not that's true, I don't know. I don't know how many people actually apply for this. And if they would have opened up more, who knows? But it's good positioning. So hopefully it's true. He says, while many coaches come and go, my team and I have a proven track record of generating millions and helping hundreds achieve their financial goals for nearly a decade. And then he goes over some of the different things. Again, you get weekly live calls, guest lessons, done for you funnels. And this is why I think he's using HighLevel. This is why I think he's gone away from ClickFunnels. It's this, and it's this. He's able to white label HighLevel, right? This is HighLevel right here with his own branding on it. And by doing that, creating this thing called Deal Engine, he's able to charge whatever he wants for it. So rather than getting 40% affiliate commissions for ClickFunnels, he can charge $297 for this, right? I think actually right here, he says how much this costs. It says, oh yeah, $300 to $1,200 per month. So he's able to charge that much and it doesn't cost him any more with HighLevel, right? He pays $500 a month flat and he gets as many people as he wants. A lot of people have done this and it's working for them. They're building successful kind of side products out of that with no development cost because HighLevel's already done all the work, right? And then he goes over some different bonuses, webinar pitch mastery, email delivery optimization, VA content machine, all this stuff. Total value of over 100 grand, right? He's just stacking the value, right? I've actually heard this isn't compliant, right? You're not allowed to do this, but so many people still do it. But he says that's why we created Epic Pitch Mastery. The investment is $25K. I get that this might feel like a lot, so let's put it into perspective, right? He's trying to reflip the frame, re-see the way you think about it, right? And again, it's an investment. It's not spending money, it's an investment. He says a top tier TV costs about $20K. I don't know who's buying a $20,000 TV, but I'm sure there's people out there. This is the cheapest house you can find, costs a lot more. That I agree with, right? However, 5 years from now, the TV is going to be worthless and the house is going to increase in value, right? I also agree with that, typically. The point is, expensive things are only expensive if they become worthless after you buy them. That is a really, really, really good line, right? That is a great way to flip this, right? It says one is spending, one is investing. Anything that pays you back isn't spending money, it's investing money. That's exactly how I've designed this program. Every single part of it is hyper-focused on making you as much money and impact as possible. You don't need to pay $25,000 today. Here's how it works. Okay, this is genius. So if he just allowed you to join right now, conversion would probably be super low, right? Because most people, their credit card wouldn't even work, right? They can't do a $25,000 purchase. It's just scary to do that all in the order form, right? But he says, secure your spot and submit a 100% refundable $1,000 deposit instead. Why the deposit? Because once you do, I'll personally text you from my phone, value right there, right? They want its phone number to discuss whether this program is a fit and if it can help you, right? Which he's going to be great at selling you if you do this and if you text him, right? Then Stephanie, assuming that's like his EA, will find a way to make the investment work for you, right? After the fact. So don't even worry about it now, right? Just put the deposit down. This is like when, Tesla announced their new Cybertruck and it's like, it's a $200 deposit or whatever, right? We worry about the 100K later, right? Just make the deposit. The deposit ensures you're serious so we can have a focused, productive conversation. Helping you to return your investment is a core value of mine. He says, if I don't think I can help, I won't take you on, right? Also work hard to make the investment manageable for you while paying in full gives you a significant discount. We also offer custom in-house payment plans. Even if a whopping 20% interest feels negligible when you're making $1 million a year, I've worked with these companies before and I just don't agree with their approach, right? Which is why they've done custom in-house plans to avoid these predatory interest rates. I'd rather handle everything in-house and ensure you're treated fairly. And he's also obviously getting a percentage increase on top of the 25K because he's charging some amount of interest. I don't know how much it is, but some amount of interest. If it's not a fit or we can't make it work, I'll refund your deposit. He makes a shake because this is the risk reversal, right? He wants you to see this. Then he says, secure your spot. And this page, I think, was just sent directly on the challenge because he says there's a big time zone difference between the US and Dubai. So it's very late here. You'll likely receive a text or call from Stephanie first, just connect and gather information. And I'll text you after I get some sleep, right? Just showing you what's going to happen after, right? By telling prospects what's going to happen after they make this purchase, it just relieves some of these fears, uncertainties, and doubts. So that is how he's selling it. We can actually go to the Skool community and see he has just over 30 people, right? Which is how I know he's sold out on this first round. I don't know how many spots he's going to open up on the next time, probably another 30, but just over 30. That gets him, I think, to about 900,000 when I do the math, including payment plans and all that sort of stuff. But then also he's selling tickets, right? The Facebook group for the Epic Pitch Challenge has over 300 people in it, right? So that's made him a bit of money. I don't know how many people he got in the first one. And there's also 2 weeks left, so he's going to get even more. So I bet this thing doubles to where it's now made him $2 million on, I believe this is only the second time he's ran this challenge. So he made about $1 million the first time, probably make another $1 million, if not more, the second time. So that is how Dan Henry launched a Skool community, and within 3 days, made $1 million off of it, or just about. And Dan, if you're watching this video, I'd love to see a video from you breaking down challenge funnels versus webinar funnels. Maybe you've already done that. Send it to me if you have. But breaking that down, look at the KPIs. I want to see on a webinar funnel that you run, what's the lead to conversion rate? How does that differ from like a purchase to conversion rate on a challenge funnel? Break down all the metrics. I want to see how this plays out and which one actually wins and the pros and cons of both. So I'd love to see that from you, Dan. But if you enjoyed this video, YouTube thinks you'll enjoy this one as well. And I'll see you there.